Hello, folks. I'm Bob Kitchen, one of the owners here at Maple Hill Golf, and you're listening to the official podcast of Maple Hill, the Hill Unscripted. Every 2 weeks, I'll bring you the real talk from inside the golf world, insights, stories, and conversations that matter to you as a golfer and a valued part of the Maple Hill family. BK here, once again, bringing you the latest and greatest from what's been happening around. I always like to touch on what happened on the TV. So Rory wins in a 3-hole playoff against a relatively unknown player. The Irish Open, that was an absolutely... I can only imagine what this kid's thinking going up against Rory McIlroy. Like, your family's cheering for you and the rest of the world's cheering for Rory. So that's a little bit disheartening. But it is nice to see Rory being super relevant and doing all the things. And he's firing, man. He's had a great year, obviously, and I think it's hard not to like Rory, and he definitely had some dips in his career and in his personal life, and I always like to cheer for the underdog and cheer for him back. And, of course, I would have been happy if Joaquim, or however you say his name, if he would have won. But it's always nice to see somebody, catch a break and an up-and-comer. But it's hard not to like Rory and cheer for Rory, so congratulations to him. Can't go this close in September without talking about the Ryder Cup. I want to just kind of touch on it right now, and then we'll talk more about it in 2 weeks. And I'm lucky enough to actually get to go to the Ryder Cup this year, and I'll talk more about that in the next podcast. Ryder Cup teams are announced, and I had the team here print me off the sheet. This is going to be a heavyweight slugfest, man. I'm excited. I think that these teams are pretty even. And everybody always, oh, no, Europeans. I don't think that many people know that much about the Europeans, but Cam Young, Thomas, Scheffler, Spahn, Schauffele, Morikawa, Henley, Griffin, Burns, Cantley, DeChambeau, Harris, and then Keegan's not playing. He's just going to captain. Looked like he might have done both there for a while. And then the vice captains, Jimmy Furyk, Big Birdie's back out there. Kisner, this ain't no hobby. Webb Simpson, Brant Snedeker, or Opie Taylor, and then Gary Woodland. Hard not to like those guys, man. So good for us. And they have a tough squad. There's no doubt about it. Rahm has kept his game in shape, and Straka and Rose is hot. I mean, he's old, but he's great. Rory, of course, Bobby Mack, Lowry, Victor, Rasmus Hogard, I think is how you say his last name. Oiberg, I think is how you say his last name. Fitzpatrick, of course. Tommy Fleetwood, I think people will be cheering for him, kind of no matter what. And then Hatton, of course, the king of swearing. But he's entertaining, and I like his fiery personality. And then Luke Donald, I think he's a little vanilla, but I think Luke Donald's a hell of an individual and a great human being, so good for him. Then they got the Molinari's for vice captains, Thomas Bjorn, Old Man Olathable, and Alex Noren. So good for them, man. Heavyweight slugfest. And I love that. One of my favorite things about the Ryder Cup is that you can't represent anything but your country. Nobody gets paid a dime. Just go out there and play your heart out for your country. And I absolutely love the Ryder Cup. I think it's probably my own personal favorite event. It's also because it's not every single year, right? It's here, and then it's overseas, and then it's here, and then it's overseas. So every 4 years it's in the U.S., and every 4 years it's overseas. So I love it. This will be my third Ryder Cup that I'm going to. I went to the one in Detroit where we got killed. The one we went to Chicago at Medina, I went to that one, and then I'm flying out to Bethpage a couple Wednesdays from now, and I'm going to be there for basically 2 full days, which will be sweet. So I'll talk more about going on that trip, and then I'll talk a lot more about it when I get back. So that's coming up. Few topics I want to touch on today. I get inspiration from, I'm wearing casual clothing today because I'm feeling casual and I want to talk casual. So here we go. Here comes BK just flying right off the cuff. I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve. I think a lot of my friends know that, and sometimes it bites me in the butt a little bit, but I am who I am. I'm kind of unapologetic for my opinions, but they're not always right. But I get my inspiration for this show from so many different people, and from sitting in my office and listening to old people, young people, everybody in between. My buddies come in and they tell me a story or tell me something that affected their life or something that happened. And I think one of the things that attracts me to the sport of golf so much is that just how difficult it is, and how everyone can kind of have their own personal milestones. And here's what I mean by that. So my one friend was in here, and he said that his granddaughter, at the age of 21, texted her the other day and said, "Grandpa, I thought you'd be so proud to hear. You're the first person I'm telling, but I got my first par." And I'm thinking, that is such a beautiful thing for so many different reasons. The fact that the grandpa had a hand in their life, teaching them how to golf and teaching them how to love the sport and how to appreciate actually doing good. And if you saw my other video about how long it takes at golf just to suck, and then beyond that, hopefully by the grace of God, you can actually be good. And my son doing the puppet thing and all that, that was that kind of clip went kind of viral, but it's like a par, right? So big deal. So like, who hasn't made a par? Well, this young lady had never made a par. So I just think that that's such a beautiful thing that, like, Grandpa, you're going to be so proud of me. I finally got a par. Like, maybe hit 2 great shots in a par 4 and rolled the putt close, or didn't even hit a good putt and made a 10-footer or something, or maybe chipped one up there and made a long putt. Who knows? But got a par. Grandpa, I want to tell you right away. And I just think that that's wonderful. For some people, it'll be their first eagle. For some people, it's their first birdie. For some people, it's their first time-breaking 40, time-breaking 50, time-breaking 100. And all those little things should be celebrated. Like, I think that there's so much positive you can take out of it. A bad round of golf is certainly frustrating, and I'm no stranger to that. I used to be really good, and I'm not that good anymore. I can still have good rounds, but it's very frustrating when you were something and you no longer are something. I know that there's a lot. I'm not the first person to ever say that. But the little steps that it takes and celebrating those things and having a goal and accomplishing that goal is such a beautiful thing. And that's what makes the sport of golf so great. And this granddaughter, who knows if she's been playing for a year, for 10 years, God only knows, literally. But she finally got her first par and texted her grandpa, and the grandpa's in my office telling me this. So it actually impacted his life and impacted his life enough where he actually wanted to tell me. And I'm like, wow, like that never really crossed my mind. Like, my kids are 14 and 17 now, and they probably had their first par within a year of playing golf. But for some people, it just doesn't come that easy, or they don't get a chance to play that much. And my family's a golf family. So like, that just really spoke volumes to me about like what this sport means different to different people. So my personal goal is every time I tee up the ball, I want to have 0 double bogeys on the card. I love having 0 +2s on the card, zero double boxes. If you know what the double box means, that's my goal. And I've also had a goal of never having anything over a 5 on the scorecard, like 5 or under. So par of the par 5s, try to make pars and bogeys on the par 4s, and par 3s, try to have 3s, 4s, or maybe a 5 if you happen to hit one in the trap or hit a really bad shot or something. But nothing over 5. I've had all those goals and I've accomplished all those goals. But the point is also to keep on pushing. Like, set yourself some sort of goal. Be realistic about it. One of the guys from Railside, one of my buddies, Mr. Monroe, he said that his goal every year in league, which is like 17 weeks, is to try to birdie every hole, 1 through 18, birdie them all. And we were playing with him the last week of league, and he was like, number 2 is the only hole I haven't birdied this year. And I'm like, wow, I can't even imagine keeping track of that personally. I can't even fathom that, writing it down. Like, birdied number 11 today, cross that one off. And it's just a 9-hole league. So, but he was like, yeah, I haven't birdied number 2. So he hits a really good drive. He actually stiffs his second shot to like 6 or 7 feet, and he just missed it. And I would have lost the hole, but I'm kind of pulling for him at this point because I'm like, this guy actually keeps track of this and cares. Like, league means something to me, but these birdies means a lot to this guy, and it's the only hole he hasn't birdied during league this calendar year. So he just missed it, and then he went back and threw the ball down like everybody does and hits it again and made it his second time. And I said, you probably shouldn't have done that because then it just feels that much worse. So anyhow, my point is, what makes people happy in golf is a wide range, and figure out what makes you happy or what would make you happy and shoot for that, man. Like, set yourself a goal and try to go out and achieve it, and make sure it's realistic, not birding every hole. This guy's pretty good, clearly. I think he's maybe an 8 or 9 handicap, I'm guessing, somewhere in there. So he's not phenomenal, but he's good. That is his goal, and I appreciate that. I respect that. He's got something. I don't care that much to actually go through that. So I just try to keep doubles off the card. That's literally always my goal, just no doubles. That way I know I'm going to break 45, and if I can par enough of them, I might be able to break 40, and once in a while I can be right around par. So that's it. Enjoy the sport, set a goal, try to achieve it. And grandkids, if anybody young is listening to this and you still have your grandparents, if you make a par, make a birdie, and your parents or grandparents are involved in your life, text them and tell them how great that feels. And like, that's just share that with them. I think that they appreciate that, and it clearly meant something to my buddy. So share your good news. I think that's great. The next one here is a long subject, but some people, one of my other buddies, Jay, he was in my office and he says, "Dude, I love the podcast. I love how you just kind of keep it real." And I've had plenty of positive feedback, and I appreciate the positive feedback and the love that my friends have gotten. And my mom seems to be my biggest fan still. So you did a really good job on the podcast last week, Bob. And I'm like, thanks, Mom. Like, I think you're a little biased, but anyhow, I really, if you know me in real life, if you actually know the real BK, like, I'm not actually a pessimist. I'm actually an optimist. I look at the good in people and try to figure out the best possible thing in things. I'm realistic too. I know that it's not all, it's not all sleeping in and sunshine and daisies. I understand that. But I really, truly try to keep it real and positive. So when I'm on here and I'm talking about, like, don't believe this and don't believe that, you're like, oh, this guy's negative. This guy's negative. I'm not, dude. I'm positive, and I'm trying to really be real and try to help people. And that's really, truly my MO. Like, I'm not trying to be deflating. I'm actually trying to build people up. Like, you can do this. You don't necessarily need to buy new clubs. You can actually get better. Just go work on your game. Go practice. Figure out where your strokes are coming from. Dial in that. And if you don't have the right wedges, go get new wedges, or change your grips, or change your shaft length if the shaft length's not right. Like, make sure you have the right utensils. Once you have the right utensils, go out and achieve your goal by hard work. And if I've said this before, and if professional golfers had to change every club in their bag, they would still be really, really good at golf. They just are really good at golf. So the point is always to just be as real with you folks as I possibly can and try to give it to you straight from my heart, because I really care about our customers, and I care about our fan base, and I care about my employees and our patrons that walk in the door, and our people that shop on our website. And the other thing I want to talk about just briefly is these price increases, like tariffs and price increases and all this. Like, that really does get me down. I have to admit that. Callaway's had a price increase September 10. Strixon Cleveland had a price increase September 1st. Peng had one September 1st. And you see all these price increases, and they keep going tariffs. Like, the thing I hope everybody understands about Maple Hill and about the world, I'm going to talk about both of those. When a tariff hits, when Trump or whomever's in charge puts a tariff on China or Indonesia or whatever country, they don't just eat that. That's not the way the tariffs work. And I hate seeing a good, hardworking person that earns their money through hard work, or went to college for a long time, or critical thinking, or brain power, or whatever it happened to be. I hate to see people waste their money. And so Maple Hill, my business, our goal is to never charge people a dime more than what we need to. So, like, we run a lot of sales, we run a lot of specials, we run a lot of promotions, because we're trying to give people the best deal we possibly can. Whether it's this product or that product, or we got a deal, let's pass this deal on to the consumer. Like, that might sound like, well, yeah, of course you're saying that. That's the truth. It's the truth. And these tariffs and these price increases, two things nobody wants to talk about. One is that the tariff is actually a tax on the American taxpayer. There's no other way to look at it. So if we say China, you're paying 5% more, then China says, okay, you're paying 5% more. They just simply raise our prices. Like back in the day, I remember when minimum wage went from like $8.50 to $10 or something like that. If you think that McDonald's is going to just sit there and go, well, we just got to pay our employees more. We can't, I guess we're just going to make less money. No, what McDonald's did is simply raise the prices of the food and the drinks and the everything. The menu just got more expensive. So yeah, we paid the employees more. Okay, everything just got more expensive. Tariffs. Okay, we're just gonna raise the price 5% to China. They're just gonna raise the price back to us. That's how it works. That's one thing, and I hope everybody understands that. Because my nephew, I had a long drive with him over to the Michigan State football game I took him to 2 weeks ago, and Uncle Bob explained to me how tariffs impact your business. And I was like, oh my God, that's a really good question for a junior in high school to ask. And he knows I'm in the golf business, and he works at a golf course now, and he's 16, and really, Alex is his name. He's really sprouted into a great young man, and he was really curious about how does this work and how does it impact your business. So I went through and told him all the things. He's like, well, it says right here that we're bringing in more money than ever to the country via tariffs. And I'm like, yeah, we are. I said, who do you think's paying it? He's like, they are. I'm like, well, where do you think that money's coming from? We went through the whole round and round, so we charge them more, they charge us more, and then really the taxpayer is all that loses. So that's one thing that tariffs do impact. Just basically you listeners, me, the American taxpayer, the working class. And then the other thing that nobody wants to talk about is the word greed. I think greed still exists. I'm pretty sure that greed hasn't died. I don't think we haven't nailed greed to the cross. It still exists very much so. So these companies, these CEOs, these high ups, these big organizations, they want to keep on adding to the bottom line. So the easiest way to do that is either make the product for less, which is hard, or sell it for more. So if they get charged $1 more, they're like, all right, we're charging you $5 more or $3 more. They don't just say, we're getting paid $1 more, you're paying $1 more. They take it and add it on, because if these CEOs or the big bosses get paid a percentage of the profitability of the company, wouldn't you rather see that percentage higher? Like, wouldn't you rather have 5% of $100,000 versus 5% of $50,000? Of course you would. It's a higher dollar amount. It's still 5%, but it's of a bigger dollar amount. So I just can't stand these price increases. I think that it's all going to come crashing down at some point in time. And it certainly opens the door for, like, we're going to start carrying Vice golf clubs. Not because they're so great. It's because we have to. Like, they fill a price point. And Tour Edge has got a lot of stuff and really good price points. And Wilson is filling in the cracks on a lot of this stuff. They got great clubs for really reasonable prices. And Mizuno, I just shot this video the other day on these irons. They brought out a price point iron. So there's still going to be deals out there, folks. And if you want the newest, latest, greatest, and it says Titleist or Callaway or TaylorMade or Ping or Cobra, one of the big brands on there, you're gonna pay for it. It's going to be expensive. But if you can live with last year's, or find yourself a deal, or wait until it goes off price, there still will be deals. Like, my point is this, don't let these price increases get you down. There are ways around it. And if you're looking for something in particular and you can't find it, you can always just email us. We have an email inbox that's just called teeitup@maplehillgolf.com. It's a very general inbox. It goes to our customer experience team downstairs. And you can just say, hey, I'm looking for these Titleist irons. I can't find the best price out there. Can you please tell me the best price you can do on them? And we will reply to that email within 24 hours, business hours. Weekends is a little tough, but and we'll just say, hey, here's what it is. Here's what we can do for you, and away we go. So we're here to help, folks, and I'm really not ever trying to be the Debbie Downer. I'm trying to say, hey, we're doing all we can, and I'm trying to bring it to you as real and as uncut as humanly possible to help everybody that we possibly can. And I use this podcast a little bit as like therapy for me. Like, I get to get things off my chest that just drive me absolutely crazy sometimes, and I do appreciate that part of this very much so, because these two have to sit here and listen to me go on these rants, and I appreciate all you listeners out there that are listening to this. So if you ever got anything or got any questions or comments or anything like that, please, you can email it to that tee it up at maplehillgolf.com, or you can put a comment in the Spotify or podcast app or whatever you're listening to. You can just put something on there, and I love replying back to mailbag questions and all that kind of stuff, or comments, and like, hey Bob, you haven't talked about this yet, or you haven't talked about that yet. I love that. If it concerns you and it's valid to talk about on the show, I'd love to address that. So that's my MO behind doing this podcast and trying to keep it real with everybody and trying to save everybody as much money as possible and tell everybody the straight truth on things. Here's two questions that we had. This one was general. It wasn't from anybody in particular, but it's carbon versus titanium driver faces. Which is better and what do they do? So there's two things about drivers. One is the performance of the golf club, and one is the sound of the golf club, or also called feel. So when a metal face, you have to make it very, very thin in order to make it actually flex. And you can make metal very thin and strong, but at some point in time, it's metal. So if the ball's getting hit hard enough, you can crack the face. Matter of fact, my buddy Mark Warren was in the other day, and his son has got 120-something mile an hour ball, club head speed, and it was like his third driver that he's cracked. He literally split the face right across the top center of the face, and he actually split the sole. Like it was in bad shape. And it was even a driver that's designed for really good players, and he still split the thing. That was a titanium face, and then there's plenty of pictures and videos out there of the TaylorMade driver that's got a carbon fiber face in it, carbon wood they call it, and so what TaylorMade claims is they can make that face more flexible because it's carbon instead of titanium, and it still has that soft, sweet feel to it, and it sounds great. And obviously Rory and all these guys on tour have been playing it, so there's something to it. I know that one of the other major manufacturers, I can't say it quite yet, but I've already seen the club has got a carbon fiber face in their driver next year. And the club is absolutely beautiful. So maybe there's something to it. There's always a race to what's next. Maybe TaylorMade figured it out, and the other companies are catching up with them. Maybe not. Like Titleist still sells great. It's a titanium face, and they finally put a carbon fiber crown on it. Callaway sells like crazy. Titanium face, carbon fiber wrap, and if you look at ball speeds and testing, they're all really close. It's kind of splitting hairs. So carbon versus titanium driver, which face is better and what do they do? Which one's better? Neither, or both. They're both fantastic. And then what do they do? It's basically trying to get that ball speed up, and it's dead center shots. I'd say any golf club out there is going to be really close to the same. And what they're trying to do is improve ball speed, both vertically and horizontally on the club face, in both directions, north, south, east, west. So that's the story on which face is better. So there's plenty of people are going to say, oh, I love my TaylorMade, or I love my Callaway or Ping or whatever. It's just personal preference. But go out and hit them and see which one works best for you. Mailbag question. This one's from TikTok. I know we get a lot of people watching TikTok. I still haven't quite figured that out, but this is from Ryan D. And Ryan, thank you very much for the question. It says, shaft recommendations for 130 to 135 mile an hour club head speed. I have an old hazardous black extra stiff uncut. So Ryan is in the top 10th of 1% with 130 to 135 mile an hour club head speed. That is outrageously fast. He'd be one of the top speeds on the tour. That is really moving it. So I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that you should play the most flexible shaft you can control. So if you can't control a stiff, then try an X. If you can't control an X, then try a heavier, like a 70 gram or 75 gram X. If it's still not working good, you might need to go shorter in length. But between a combination of flex, weight, and length, yeah, you should be able to figure out what driver shaft works the best for you. So, like, he might want me to just say, hey, dude, play a Ventus Black 7X. 130, 135 mile club head speed, that probably is a good recommendation. Is it the best recommendation? I don't know. If you can hit something else better, hit that. We've got demo clubs and everything you can possibly imagine. So if you're near us, come try them. If you're not near us, find a place to hit them. If you can't do that, then I guess you got to make your best guess and roll from there. So sorry I don't have an exact answer for you, but I've always said play the most flexible shaft you can control because it goes further. The more flexible the shaft is, the further the ball goes. So enough about all of that. The Maple Spill, the latest updates as to what's happening here at the Hill. The fall tent sale. The deals are in-store and online September 12th through 30th. And then we are going to have a fall tent sale. We were back and forth about this, but we are going to do it. Donnie's setting it up, and it's going to be Thursday, September 25th, Friday the 26th, and Saturday the 27th. So the tent sale in-store starts on the 12th, goes through the 30th, and then we're going to have the actual tent sale with certain specific items just for the tent that weekend of the 25th, 26th, and 27th. So mark that on your calendar. Come on out and check that out. There'll be some great deals and kind of year-end blowout type of stuff. Late September is kind of our last hurrah before Black Friday and about 6 or 7 weeks after that, which seems crazy, but that's where we're at. And then we also have this one. This is super fun. Mike and Nathan, our golf guys, do a great job of this. So the Big Hole 4-person scramble. Join us for an exciting day of unusual fall golf. Always wanted the cup to be larger? The Big Hole Scramble will feature 8-inch cups, boxed lunch, optional skins, and a free $25 in Maple Bucks, $25 Maple Hill gift card for each player to spend on anything you want. So I think they still put the holes in some really weird spots and make it kind of fun. And some of our greens are pretty flat. Some of our greens are pretty crazy out here. But this will be Sunday, October 12th. Shotgun begins at 10 a.m. $400 per team, $100 per player. So that's really cool. The Big Hole 4-person scramble. That one fills up pretty quickly. So I would say if you want to get into that, October 12th, 10 a.m., call in and get your name on that. It's called the Big Hole, so it'd be hard to forget that one. But that's coming up, and $100 a piece is great with a $25 gift card back. So pretty sweet. I've played in that before. It's an absolute blast. So I think that just about does it for this episode. And new episodes drop every other week, so be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. And again, I want to thank everybody for their feedback and my friends that stop in the office and say, hey, dude, I listen to the podcast. I love how you keep it real, and I love this or I love that, or how about you did this or how about you did that differently. Like, I can take the feedback, both positive and negative. I'm a big boy, and I can live with it. I know I'm not perfect, and I'm just trying to do my best here for you folks. So thank you once again for listening, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.